Leadership isn't something you do from the sidelines. It's about stepping into the arena where you have the opportunity to be seen, to shape decisions, and to create impact. Hi, I'm Karen Gombault, and welcome. If you've been listening for a while, you know that this podcast began as Promoted, Stop Doubting, Start Leading. When I started that podcast a year ago, that name reflected exactly where I was in my business, where I was with my clients and my thinking. I was speaking directly to ambitious women stepping into a leadership role for the very first time. And for many of you, that message resonated. But I have been working extensively over this past year with not only women, but also a lot of men. And my clients, my coaching clients, were very, very senior. And so over this past year, something became very, very clear. The conversations that I was having with those coaching clients and also feedback from my listeners, the experience and the need of those people was far beyond the first promotion into a senior leadership role. The people that I was interacting with, they were stepping into something much, much bigger, a bigger scope. Maybe they were inheriting a larger team, completely new mandate in their current company. And yes, sometimes they were even changing companies or changing jobs, but some of them were also in an acquisition or a merger and acquisition situation, and the company culture was changing. And because of all of that, and that very transformative and important moment when somebody is taking on different and bigger responsibility, I wanted to focus on that from a little bit of a wider lens. And that is why this podcast is evolving. So from now on, I am absolutely thrilled to introduce Stepping into the Arena. And it is stepping into the arena of executive leadership. Because that arena, it's about presence. It's about choosing to step forward when the spotlight is on you. And it's about choosing to influence more conversations and more decisions. And it's about you individually owning your authority that role gives you, not shrinking from it. And so I wanted to take a few minutes today to explain really why this change is important, not just for me, but specifically for you as a listener. So in my coaching and mentoring work that I do, I sit along very senior leaders all day long, whether they're VP, SVP, executives stepping into a bigger role. And the themes that have come up consistently over the past year, it's not just about, I got promoted, now what? The questions and the coaching we do is much more strategic. How do I show up with authority in rooms where everyone is watching me differently now? Or how do I influence decisions when I'm not just running a team, but I'm actually shaping the strategy of the company? How do I build or rebuild relationships when I've gone either from peer to boss or when I inherit a team that wasn't mine? And how do I stay grounded and confident when so much feels new? And so these situations, it's not about titles. It is really about self-identity, presence, and influence. And that, or those themes, are going to be at the core of this new podcast. So instead of also just announcing the change, which of course I'm thrilled about, and I absolutely hope that you will stay on and keep listening. And of course, feedback is welcome at any time. But I also wanted to leave you, I would say, with 4 observations, takeaways that I've seen again and again in leaders who navigate these changes really well. So the first lesson is that title change or that new job, that is just the beginning. Too often, people think that the hard work is over once they've landed the new role or once they've inherited the bigger team. But that is actually when the real work starts, is when you walk into the office on day 1. Yes, you have a new seat or a new title, but how you use it and the decisions that you make daily, that is what matters. Lesson number 2, self-identity has to catch up to the level of responsibility that you have been given. And what I mean by that is a lot of times in my clients, their titles change overnight, but the self-concept often lags behind. And I call it the leadership lag. So those who I see succeeding are those who are very intentional about stepping into new shoes, stepping into that new identity. And what that means specifically is not clinging to old ways of working, old ways of doing things, but growing into a new version of themselves that their role requires. And so what that looks like is letting go some of the things that you might like doing. It might be delegating. It might be stopping. It might be having a tough conversation that you've avoided over time. Whatever it is, your identity and your self-identity has to catch up. And you can be very deliberate about that. Lesson number 3 is that your authority, which is a big topic we coach on, is earned by your behavior. You don't get authority just because you have a new title. And I also like to think of authority as credibility. Now, I know they're 2 different things, but for me, they're very, very similar in that you build your credibility and you build your authority by how you show up. So people may respect the role that you are in, but they don't automatically trust you. You have to build that authority and that credibility. And that comes from how you listen, how you make decisions, how you carry yourself, especially in those early moments, and the way that you show up and your behavior also teaches people how to treat you. So you have to treat yourself with respect and be very deliberate about how you want to show up. And lesson number 4 is influence is your multiplier. So what I mean about that is the higher that you go in the organization, it's less about what you personally deliver. And that is a big trap that I see a lot of people get caught up in. They've got a bigger role and they still want to do the coordinating, or they're scared of delegating because they're afraid that somebody doesn't have time. Your value is measured by how you shape conversations, guide stakeholders, and move decisions forward. It's about influence. And so just because you have a seat at the table, that doesn't create impact. So what does all this mean for you? These lessons, so presence, identity, authority, and influence, that's what I'm going to continue to explore in stepping into the arena. Those are the themes that I have seen again and again show up. And I also want to re-specify that this podcast, it's not about theory. It is about lived leadership. Every week, I'll bring you insights that come either directly from the coaching that I'm doing with my individual private VIP clients, those real conversations and real struggles, men and women across industries and across cultures, both North American and European. It's going to be about struggles, turning points, and practical shifts that they make and what has helped them be successful. So those are the stories that are going to fuel the podcast. Also, I was in senior executive positions for many, many years. I was the CEO in my last job before I decided to go into coaching full time. And so also, when you tune in, you're not just getting abstract ideas. You're getting real-time, concrete challenges that my clients are facing. And you're also getting 30 years of my executive experience. It will be pragmatic, action-oriented, so strategies and mindsets. So what is actually changing and what isn't? So the name of the podcast has changed, and I absolutely love it. I love stepping into the arena because it means that you have the ability and the choice to do that. And the scope. So instead of narrowly focusing on only promotion, this is any high-stake leadership transition. I'm also not talking only to women. I started off my initial podcast focusing on women, but I'm including men as well because I coach actually a lot of men. Probably 50% of my clients currently are men, and they have the same challenges. So I didn't want to exclude them at all because I think that they have also just as much to learn and to benefit from women in what I'm teaching and sharing. And so instead of asking, how do I survive this new job? I want you to ask yourself, how do I thrive in the arena with presence, with influence, and with lasting impact? That's what we're going to be talking about. So it's sharp, actionable episodes every single week, strategies, mindset shifts, and straight talk. So whether you've been here from the very beginning or you're just joining me now, thank you. Your trust, your feedback, and your presence are what make this podcast worth creating. This is the next chapter for me, but also for you. And I couldn't be more excited to bring you along. The arena is yours. Step in and make it count.